That midnight, my blood smeared across the doorframe while the hidden camera under the kitchen shelf kept recording every blow from my stepfather's fists. My mother said, "The debt is yours," and showed me a stack of papers with my signature. Except that day. I was in another state. They thought they'd drown me with family bonds. I chose to drown them with evidence. The clock read 12:47 a mon when he broke through Mason's back door. The video caught everything: his face, his voice screaming, "Sign it!" the sound of my ribs cracking against the counter. My name is Riley Monroe, and that autumn morning at Harborstone Federal Credit should have been simple, just signing as a co-borrower, my mother had said. The fluorescent lights hummed cold above us as Gordon Pierce, the branch manager, slid the papers across his mahogany desk with trembling fingers. "There's a discrepancy," he said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. The computer screen reflected in his lenses. "Our system shows your signature on multiple previous loans. Miss Monroe." The air conditioning vent above whistled. I felt Darren's cologne too sweet, too thick invade my lungs as he shifted in his chair. My mother, Elaine, kept her eyes fixed on her designer purse. "That's impossible." My voice cut through the banker's office like glass. "Show me the dates." Pierce turned his monitor. 7 loans, all opened during my business trips. The last one, $68,000, processed the night of my 30th birthday. I was in Milwaukee that night. My fingers found my phone, scrolling to the presentation photos. Leading a logistics summit for Northline Freight Systems. 300 witnesses. Darren's chair creaked. "Family helps family. Riley, don't make this harder than family." I stood, my knee catching the desk edge. Coffee sloshed across loan documents. "I haven't signed anything for you. Ever." The lobby beyond Pierce's glass door had gone silent. 23 customers and 5 tellers, all watching our family theater. Security cameras blinked red in every corner. Good. Let them record this. Darren rose, his 6'3" frame blocking the light. "You ungrateful." His hand shot out, shoving my shoulder. I stumbled backward into the rope barrier. The metal post crashed down, the sound echoing off marble floors. My blazer tore at the shoulder seam. Sir Pierce half stood, hands fluttering uselessly. My mother finally looked up, not at me, at the watching crowd. "Riley, please, not here." "Here is exactly where this needs to happen." I pulled myself up, tasting copper where I'd bitten my tongue. The torn fabric of my blazer hung loose. "This isn't a loan anymore. This is identity theft by my own family." Pierce's assistant had already called security. 2 guards appeared at the door, hands on their radios. Darren straightened his tie, that practiced smile sliding across his face like oil. "Misunderstanding," he told them. "Family matter." But I saw Pierce pulling files, printing screenshots. His fingers moved with purpose now, documenting. He knew fraud when it stared him in the face. "I'll need those signatures analyzed," I told him. "Every single one." My mother stood then, her voice pitched for the audience. "After everything we've done for you, done to me." I picked up my torn blazer from the floor. "There's a difference." The walk through that lobby stretched forever. Each step echoed, faces turned away, then back, hungry for drama's aftermath. Someone's phone was out, recording. Tomorrow. Half of Redwood Falls would know. Outside, October wind bit through my ruined shirt. My Honda sat between Darren's Silverado and my mother's Lexus vehicles. I now understood were bought with my stolen name. Behind me, the bank door sealed with a pneumatic hiss. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about the 32 years I'd believed in the word family. This was about making them pay. Alexis Grant's office smelled like leather and war. Credit reports carpeted her glass table. $78,000 of debt opened in my name, spreading across the surface like evidence of a massacre. Each page marked another wound they'd carved into my financial life. Mail forwarding. Alexis tapped a USPS form with her fountain pen. Your mother registered a P.O. box specifically for these accounts. Premeditated. Systematic. My brother Mason sat beside me, his calloused carpenter's hands steady on his knees. He'd driven straight from a job site, sawdust still in his hair. Tell her about Dad's fund. What fund? Alexis's eyes sharpened. Our father died when I was 15. The words came out flat. His boss at the machine shop set up a vocational training fund. $20,000, supposed to unlock when I turned 25. Let me guess. Alexis was already writing. Gone. The exact week of my birthday. Transferred to an account I never opened. She pulled up banking records on her laptop. Neil Carver. He's the credit officer who approved every single loan. Look at these override codes he bypassed standard verification 17 times. Mason leaned forward. That's conspiracy? That's prison. Alexis arranged the papers into neat stacks. Federal charges for bank fraud, identity theft, wire fraud, state charges for forgery, conversion of funds. She looked at me. They didn't make mistakes. Riley. They built a system. The October rain started then, streaking the office windows. Each drop caught the light from downtown Redwood Falls, turning gold before disappearing. Document everything from today forward, Mason said. Every call, every text, every time they show up. Already started. I showed them my phone recording app running, cloud backup active. Pierce from Harborstone called. He's found more. Alexis stood, moved to her filing cabinet. We have 2 paths. Criminal prosecution FBI, federal prosecutor, the works, and civil litigation sue for damages, freeze their assets, forensic accounting on everything they own. Both, I said. Both costs money. I'll pay. Mason's voice was quiet. Whatever Riley needs. I looked at my brother, the one who'd enlisted at 18, did 2 tours in Afghanistan, came home to build houses with hands that had built fobs in Kandahar. He'd never asked for anything. Now he was offering everything. They stole from you too, I realized. Dad's tools. The ones from his shop, Darren sold them, didn't he? Mason nodded once. Last spring. Said they needed repairs on the house. Alexis returned with forms. Affidavits. Both of you. Every detail you remember, no matter how small. We wrote for an hour. The rain hammered harder. My hand cramped around the pen as I listed dates, conversations, suspicious moments I'd dismissed. The time Elaine asked for my social security number, for insurance. The family dinner where Darren joked about my good credit. The birthday cards that stopped coming probably because they needed my signature to stay consistent. There's something else. I pulled up my bank app. Small withdrawals, 20 here, 50 there, always on Fridays. Payday, Alexis said. They knew when your direct deposit hit. Mason's phone buzzed. He read, his face darkening. Neighbor just texted, Darren's at your apartment complex, sitting in his truck in the parking lot. He knows we're building a case. Alexis reached for her desk phone. I'm calling the police. You need a restraining order. Tonight. The stack of evidence stood 7 inches high now, each page a betrayal counted, measured, documented. They think blood is permission, I said, signing the last affidavit. They're about to learn it's not. Alexis smiled, then sharp and dangerous. No, they're about to learn about discovery. Every text, every email, every banking transaction for the last 7 years. We're going to excavate their lives. Thunder cracked overhead. The lights flickered but held. Good, I said. Let's dig. The tablet's screen glowed blue in Mason's garage, casting shadows across the pegboard where our father's tools once hung. Darren's old iPad, forgotten in a box of extension cords and broken drill bits. The password prompt blinked. Try their anniversary, I said. Mason typed. The device unlocked. The desktop was chaos invoices, photos, tax documents. But there, between solitaire and weather, a spreadsheet icon labeled Utilities and Lines. My heart hammered as it opened. 3 tabs, active cards, statement cycles, Riley schedule. Jesus Christ, Mason whispered. My work calendar, screenshot by screenshot. Every conference, every flight, every client dinner. Notes in Darren's shorthand, Milwaukee, Open Chase. Denver conference, try Capital One. Out of state, Jock's safe window. The computer fan whirred, filling the silence. Oil stains on the garage floor caught the screen's light like dark mirrors. There's more. I clicked the email icon. From Darren Porter to Neil Carver. Subject signature sample. Use the graduation card one. Don't pull from bank signature card, too risky. Attached a photo of my college graduation thank you note to them. 8 years old. My signature practiced and perfect. Back when I still signed cards. Love, Riley. Mason's fist hit the workbench. A jar of screws jumped, scattered. Keep going, he said. More emails. Darren to Neil, planning meetings when Gordon Pierce was on vacation. Neil to Darren, confirming loan approvals with alternative verification. 17 exchanges. A relationship built on my stolen name. Then I found it. A draft folder. One unsent message. She's getting suspicious. Saw her checking Credit Karma at Mason's last Sunday. Move the Maple Bend money before she finds it. Is Mom, Mason said unnecessarily. I kept scrolling. Found photos Darren at a casino in Indiana, chips stacked high. Date stamps matched the loan disbursements. Found receipts a boat, stored at Marsh Creek Marina. Title in his name, paid cash. Click that folder, Mason pointed. Budget 2024. Inside a handwritten note, photographed, my mother's handwriting, the same loops that once signed my permission slips. Pull from Riley's when deposit clears. Fridays are best. Small amounts. Under 100. She never checks. The garage fluorescent flickered. A moth hit the light repeatedly, throwing shadows like a seizure. There's a pattern, I said, voice steady despite the rage building. They took out loans for big purchases. Used my paycheck for daily expenses. Created a whole financial ecosystem on my identity. Mason pulled out his phone. I'm calling Alexis. Wait. I found one more document. Construction contract. Porter Properties LLC. They'd formed an LLC, using my credit to fund it, planning to flip houses with my stolen money while I paid the interest. They weren't desperate, I said. They were entrepreneurs, and I was their startup capital. The tablet battery warning flashed 20%. I connected my phone, uploaded everything to 3 different clouds. The progress bar crawled. Each percentage point felt like a year of my life stealing back. You know what this means, Mason asked. It means Mom wasn't manipulated. She was management. A car passed outside, headlights sweeping through the garage windows. We both tensed, then relaxed. Not Darren's truck. The upload finished. I cleared the tablet's history, placed it exactly where we'd found it. They'll know we were here, Mason said. Let them. By the time they check, Alexis will have subpoenas ready. We stood in the garage where our father once taught us to measure twice, cut once, where integrity meant straight lines and true angles. I'm not their daughter anymore, I said. I'm their reckoning. Mason killed the lights. In the darkness, I could still see the spreadsheet burned into my retinas. Every cell a calculated betrayal. No, my brother said, opening the door to cleaner air. You're their prosecutor. The restraining order felt heavier than paper should. Alexis slid it across her desk at 7:15 a.m., the courthouse stamp still wet. Granted, emergency basis. Darren can't come within 500 feet. She pulled out another document. Harborstone launched an internal investigation. Gordon Pierce is quietly photocopying everything before corporate arrives. My new address, Mason's converted barn outside town, was now legally protected space. We'd spent yesterday installing cameras, every angle covered, feeds streaming to the cloud, motion sensors on the windows, a video doorbell that logged everything. Neil Carver. I asked. Cracking. His lawyer reached out. Wants to make a deal. The morning light through Alexis's blinds striped us all like a lineup. Mason sat rigid, still in his work clothes from an emergency roof repair that ran past midnight. "Now we confront them," Alexis said. "Formally, with witnesses." The drive to my mother's house took 12 minutes, the same route I'd driven for every Christmas, every birthday, every Sunday dinner where they'd smiled while stealing from me. Maple leaves crunched under our tires. The neighborhood looked postcard-perfect American flags, pumpkins on porches, families who didn't cannibalize their own. Darren's truck sat in the driveway. The boat trailer was gone, probably moved after they realized we'd found the tablet. Alexis knocked. Legal service required personal delivery. My mother answered in her church clothes. Pearl earrings I'd bought her for Mother's Day. She looked through me like I was glass. "Elaine Porter." Alexis's voice was professionally flat. "Yes. You're being served." She handed over the papers, the restraining order, the cease and desist, the preservation notice for evidence. "Mr. Porter needs to sign acknowledgement of receipt." Darren appeared behind her, coffee mug in hand. His knuckles were white around the ceramic. "You ungrateful." "Mr. Porter," Alexis cut him off. "Anything you say is being recorded." She pointed to her body cam, a small rectangle clipped to her blazer. He read the restraining order. His face went from red to purple to a dangerous pale. "Sign here." Alexis held out a pen. His signature was angry, slashing. The pen tore through to the carbon copy. I set the manila envelope on their porch table. "The spreadsheets, the emails, the forensic accounting." "We have everything." My mother's mask finally cracked. "Riley, we're family." Family doesn't forge signatures. Family doesn't steal inheritance. Family doesn't create LLCs with their daughter's identity. "We had bills. You had greed." I stepped back, maintaining the legal distance. "And now you have consequences." Darren moved toward the door. Mason stepped forward, just one step, but Darren stopped. "Touch her and it's prison," Mason said quietly. "Not jail, prison." "You're destroying us," my mother said. "No, you destroyed us. I'm just documenting it." A neighbor's curtain twitched. "Mrs. Patterson, watching the show." "Good. Let the whole street know." "The prosecutor will be in touch," Alexis said. "Don't leave town. Don't destroy any documents. Don't access any accounts in Riley's name." We walked back to the car in formation, Alexis leading, me in the middle, Mason behind, military precision. The October wind scattered leaves around us like confetti for a war we'd just declared. In the car, Alexis checked her phone. Gordon Pierce sent 12 files, Neil Carver's override history, and "Your case just became federal." Through the rearview mirror, I watched my childhood home shrink. Darren stood on the porch, fists clenched. My mother had already gone inside. "They have something planned," I said. "They're too calm." "Let them come," Mason said. "We're ready." But I knew better. Cornered animals don't strike where you expect. They wait until midnight. The character assassination started at Grace at Maple Ridge Methodist. My mother, sobbing through Wednesday prayer circle, telling anyone who'd listen that her daughter had lost her way and fallen into debt. Mrs. Patterson called me that evening. "She's saying you owe dangerous people money, that you're blaming family to cover gambling debts." I laughed hollow, sharp. Check the court filings. They're public record. But damage was spreading. My landlord called about concerns. 3 clients at Northline questioned my reliability. Someone had sent anonymous emails. Thursday, Mason called at 6 p.m. "Don't go to your apartment." "Why, just come straight here." The scene was surgical. Every drawer emptied, mattress slashed. My work laptop smashed, but the hard drive was encrypted, backed up hourly. They'd spray-painted "Family First" across my living room wall in red. Officer Davidson took photos. Any idea who? Check the restraining order on file? But Darren had an alibi. Church council meeting. 20 witnesses. I moved the last of my things to Mason's that night. The converted barn felt like a bunker camera's humming, motion lights ready. I uploaded the apartment photos to the cloud folder labeled Escalation. Friday night. Mason was at a job site in Columbus. Emergency repair on a mall roof, 4-hour drive each way. They knew. 12:47 The kitchen camera caught it first, a shadow crossing the back deck. The door splintered at 12:48. Darren had learned to pick locks somewhere, or maybe he'd always known. Sign the withdrawal papers. His breath reeked of whiskey and rage. I backed toward the living room, phone already recording. You're violating the restraining order. Sign them. He grabbed my shoulder, spun me into the wall. My shoulder blade hit the doorframe. Pain shot down my arm. Breaking and entering. Assault. It's all being recorded. His fist connected with my ribs. The air left my lungs. I dropped, knees hitting hardwood. Darren, stop! My mother's voice from outside. She was here too, watching, letting it happen. He grabbed my hair, yanked my head back. You ruined us. You ruined yourselves. Blood filled my mouth from where I'd bitten my tongue. His boot caught my chest. I fell sideways, caught myself on the coffee table. The camera in the corner blinked red, steady, faithful. 911 has been called. I gasped. Neighbors heard everything. Sirens, faint but growing. Darren looked around wildly, finally seeing the cameras, multiple angles. The kitchen mic would have caught every word, every threat, every impact. He ran. The back door hung crooked. October wind filled the house. I pulled myself up using the table, ribs screaming. Blood from my mouth had dripped onto my shirt, the floor, the doorframe, DNA evidence everywhere. Through the window, headlights scattered. Darren's truck peeled out. My mother's Lexus followed. The sirens arrived at 12:56, paramedics and police. Officer Davidson again, looking grim. Same suspect as the apartment. Same suspect, different crime. I showed him my phone, the video already uploaded. Assault, breaking and entering, restraining order violation. The paramedic checked my ribs. Bruised, not broken. My shoulder was purple already. They documented every mark, photographed every angle. We'll get him, Davidson said. With the video and restraining order, he's looking at serious time. I sat on Mason's porch as they processed the scene. 3 now. The October stars were ice-cold bright. A screech owl called from the woods. My phone buzzed. Mason. Saw the alert. Driving back now. Then Alexis. Got the footage. Filing emergency injunction at sunrise. Then an unknown number. I almost didn't open it. A photo. Darren at a gas station. Timestamp 1:20 a.m. He was running. The message below, he's heading for Indiana, Gordon Pierce. Even bankers wanted justice now. I forwarded it to Officer Davidson. Then I sat back, ribs aching, tasting copper and victory. They'd wanted me to break. Instead, they'd broken themselves, and it was all on camera. The emergency hearing convened at 9 a.m. sharp. My ribs protested every breath as I sat beside Alexis. The courtroom smelled like old wood and justice deferred. Judge Harrison reviewed the footage on her laptop, her face hardening with each frame. The prosecutor, Janet Reeves, had assembled a timeline on poster board, every violation mapped in red ink. Darren's lawyer, a sweating man named Paulson, tried damage control. Your Honor, this is simply a family dispute that's gotten out of hand. Mr. Paulson, Judge Harrison's voice could have frozen fire. I'm watching your client break down a door at 12:48 a.m. and assault someone protected by a restraining order. Explain the simple part. Alexis stood. Your Honor, we have additional evidence. She handed over Gordon Pierce's affidavit, Neil Carver's confession, the spreadsheets. This isn't a family dispute. It's a criminal enterprise. Neil Carver sat in the witness box like a man at his own funeral. His lawyer had cut a deal, full cooperation for reduced charges. Mr. Porter approached me 2 years ago. Neil's voice cracked. Said his stepdaughter was difficult about helping family. Offered me 10% of every loan approval. How did you bypass bank protocols? Reeves asked. Override codes, fake employment verifications. I'd process applications when Gordon Pierce was off-site. How many loans? 17, totaling $78,000. My mother sat 3 rows back, her church friends conspicuously absent. She'd worn black like this was a funeral. Maybe it was. Did Mrs. Porter participate? Reeves continued. She provided the signature samples, knew the passwords, collected the cards from the forwarding address. Paulson tried to object. Judge Harrison cut him off. Gordon Pierce testified next, professional and damning. He'd spent 3 days assembling evidence, found patterns going back 4 years. The boat, the LLC, the casino trips all funded by my identity. We've frozen all accounts pending investigation, Pierce said. The FBI has been notified. Then came the video. The courtroom watched Darren break through Mason's door, watched him grab me, hit me, scream about signatures. The audio was crystal clear threats, admissions, the sound of impact. My mother made a small sound. Judge Harrison ignored her. Mr. Paulson, where is your client? He's unable to attend, Your Honor. He fled to Indiana. Reeves interrupted. State police arrested him at 3 a.m. this morning. He's being extradited. Alexis introduced the apartment vandalism photos, the spray-painted walls, the slashed mattress, the destroyed laptop. Pattern of escalation, she said. From financial crimes to property damage to physical assault. Judge Harrison had seen enough. The restraining order is extended to include Elaine Porter. Permanent order against Darren Porter pending criminal trial. Bail is denied due to flight risk and pattern of escalating violence. She looked directly at my mother. Mrs. Porter, you're fortunate you're not in custody. Yet? Paulson tried once more. Your Honor, the family home, their assets, are frozen pending civil litigation. Harrison's gavel came down. The plaintiff has demonstrated clear financial fraud. Asset preservation is warranted. In the hallway, my mother approached. Alexis stepped between us. 500 feet. Mrs. Porter. I just want to violate the order and you'll join your husband in custody. My mother looked at me over Alexis's shoulder. Family helps family. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't lie. Family doesn't stand outside while their husband beats their daughter. I never thought he'd... You knew exactly what he'd do. You were there, watching. She turned and walked away, her heels echoing off marble. At the door, she looked back once. I saw her clearly then, not my mother, but a stranger who'd worn that mask for 32 years. Mason put his arm around my shoulders, careful of the bruises. It's over. No, Alexis corrected. The criminal trial starts in 3 months. The civil case could take a year. The family part, I said. That's over. Outside. October sunshine felt like absolution. Reporters waited the story had broken wide. Identity theft by parents made good headlines. I gave them nothing. Let the court records speak. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You were always too smart for us. I deleted it, then blocked the number. Some bridges don't deserve rebuilding. They deserve to burn. The message came through Paulson at 11 p.m. Darren wanted to meet. Had evidence that would change everything. Would trade it for dropped charges. It's a trap, Mason said. Obviously. I looked at Alexis. But we make it ours. The location he'd chosen was perfect for an ambush, Locker 26, a 24-hour storage facility on the industrial side of town. Unit 447. One way in, no cameras in the corridors. Darren had probably paid cash. Fake name. He thinks I'll come alone, I said, desperate to see what he has. Alexis called Detective Davidson. Within an hour, we had a plan. 1:03 a.m. The storage facility squatted under sodium lights, throwing everything orange and shadow. I parked in view of the main road. Inside Unit 447, we'd placed a box of duplicate documents and a GPS transmitter the size of a quarter. I stood at the roller door, visible from the parking lot, wearing a wire, 3 cameras at different angles. Davidson and 2 uniforms waited 1 building over. Alexis monitored from her car, recording everything. Darren's truck pulled in at 107. Elaine's Lexus followed. She was supposed to be home, ankle monitor keeping her there. But there she was, sliding out with bolt cutters. They thought they were hunting. They didn't know they were prey. Riley. Darren approached with crowbar and canvas bag. Work gloves. Dark clothes dressed for violence. Where's the real evidence? In the box, like you asked. He laughed. You think I'm stupid you brought cops? No cops. The lie came easy. Just me and what you wanted. Elaine had moved behind me, blocking retreat. The bolt cutters caught the light. Here's what happens, Darren said. You sign papers dropping all charges. You leave Ohio. Tonight. We never see each other again. Or we finish what I started at Mason's. He stepped closer. The security light showed his pupils dilated. Manic. 3 days in county lockup before bail had broken something in him. You destroyed our life, he said. You destroyed mine first. The crowbar swung. I ducked, fell backward into the unit, exactly where the cameras could see everything. He followed, grabbed my jacket, lifted me against the metal wall. Sign the papers. Assault with a weapon. I kept my voice clear for the wire. That's 5 years minimum. His fist connected with my stomach. I doubled over, gasping. But I'd turned slightly. The impact caught oblique muscles, not organs. Stage combat training from college, finally useful. Darren, stop. Elaine stood in the doorway with the cutters. Just get the box. He dropped me, grabbed the box, found the fake documents. His face went purple. These are copies. The originals are with the FBI. I pulled myself up, along with the recording of this conversation. He raised the crowbar again. That's when the lights hit spotlights from 3 angles. Police voices through megaphones. Drop the weapon now. Darren spun, looking for exits. There were none. Elaine dropped the cutters, hands rising. You set us up, Darren said. You set yourselves up. I just provided the stage. Davidson entered with weapons drawn. Darren Porter, you're under arrest. Assault with a deadly weapon. Violation of restraining order. Attempted witness intimidation. The cuffs clicked that perfect sound of ending. Elaine Porter, you're under arrest. Violation of monitoring. Conspiracy to commit assault. Attempted witness intimidation. My mother looked at me as they cuffed her. This isn't what family does. No, this is what justice does. They led them out in full view of gathering witnesses, other storage users, passers-by drawn by lights. Someone filmed on their phone. Tomorrow's headlines writing themselves. Alexis appeared with the recovered wire, the memory cards. Clean recordings. Every word. In the box Darren had grabbed, the GPS blinked steadily. Even his theft was documented. 129 a Tim. The parking lot emptied except for crime scene tape and us. No bail this time, Davidson said. Not after this. I looked at Unit 447 one last time. They'd wanted to bury me here. Instead, they'd buried themselves. Want to press additional charges? Davidson asked. Every single one. The October wind carried the sound of sirens fading toward county lockup, where Darren and Elaine would wait for trial. Where family privilege meant nothing, where justice had teeth. The federal prosecutor laid out 23 charges: identity theft, bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy, assault, witness intimidation. The list rolled on like credits at the end of a tragedy. Darren stood in orange jumpsuit and shackles. 3 months in county had hollowed him out. Elaine beside him, her designer clothes replaced by jail gray. They'd been denied bail after the storage facility incident flight risk and violent escalation. The asset forfeiture was complete. The house on Maple Street, seized. The boat, liquidated. The LLC, dissolved. their retirement accounts, frozen pending restitution, every dollar they'd stolen, plus damages, plus interest, $186,000 total. How did the defendants plead Paulson had been replaced by a public defender? Even he looked defeated. Not guilty, Your Honor. But the evidence was overwhelming. Spreadsheets, emails, banking records, Neil Carver's testimony, Gordon Pierce's documentation, the video from Mason's house, the storage facility recordings. A systematic, proven conspiracy laid bare. The civil settlement had already passed. Alexis had been thorough garnished wages for the next 20 years, liens on any future property, complete financial monitoring. They'd never have a credit card without the court knowing. In the courthouse hallway, Elaine shuffled past in custody chains. She stopped, guard allowing one moment. I'm still your mother. No, you're defendant number 2. Her eyes went dead then, finally matching what she'd always been inside. The jury deliberated 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Darren got 12 years federal, 5 years state, to run concurrently. Elaine got 7 years federal, 3 years state, credit monitoring for life, restitution payments until death. Judge Harrison read the sentence with satisfaction. You violated the most fundamental trust that between parent and child. You commercialized family bonds. The law shows no mercy for such calculated cruelty. The courtroom cleared. I stood alone in the gallery, looking at the empty defendant's table. 3 years of my life spent on this, worth every second. Outside, Mason waited by his truck. How do you feel? Free. We drove past the old house on Maple Street. Federal auction notice on the door. The furniture had been sold. My childhood home was just walls now. Any regrets? Mason asked. Just one. What? That it took me so long to see them clearly. At Mason's barn, I found a package. No return address. Inside, my father's hammer, the one Darren had sold. A note. Bought this at the pawn shop. Thought you should have it. Gordon Pierce. I hung it on the wall, a reminder that some things could be recovered, others had to be rebuilt from scratch. My credit score had climbed back above 700. The identity theft flags were clearing. Northline had promoted me to regional director. The publicity hadn't hurt. Woman defeats parent identity thieves made for good corporate PR. The victim's advocate called that afternoon. They've been processed into federal facilities. Darren's in Coleman, Florida, Elaine's in Alderson, West Virginia. Far apart. No more conspiracies. They can write you through the victim communication program if you block all contact. That night, I sat on Mason's porch with case files. 3 boxes of evidence, trial transcripts, photographs, everything that had consumed 3 years. Burn it, Mason suggested. No, FBI might need it for appeals. After that, then we burn it. The October stars were back, same as that night Darren broke in, but now they looked like punctuation marks, full stops at the end of sentences. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Riley Monroe. This is producer Sarah Chen from Dateline. We'd love to discuss your story. I hung up. My story wasn't for sale. It had already been paid in full with justice. Mason brought coffee. We sat in silence, watching darkness settle over Ohio. Somewhere in federal prisons, 2 people who'd called themselves family were learning what isolation meant. Family doesn't mean blood, Mason finally said. No, I agreed. Family means choosing protection over profit. The restraining orders were permanent now, the legal documents stored safely, the cameras still recording. They'd wanted me to sign my life away. Instead, I'd signed theirs. Case closed. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it's been a difficult journey to hear, but sometimes the hardest truths need to be told. Where are you listening from today? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share where you're tuning in from so we can connect. Please consider subscribing to the channel and let me know your thoughts on family, justice, and standing up for yourself. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and doing what's right? I'd love to hear your perspective.